Welcome to the Ask for the Skinny podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Sandra James. Sandra, please tell us more about yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Peter. I appreciate it today. So, I grew up on a farm in Nebraska with 9 kids in my family, and my dad wanted all boys because he wanted to farm, and he got one boy and then 5 girls. And then the last 3 were spread out. So, it was over 20 years. They had 9 kids, my mom and dad, same mom and dad. But my dad wanted us to work on the farm. He wanted a farm, so he treated us, the first 5 girls especially, like boys. He just, as soon as we could walk, we started working. So, what that did for me later, now in life, when I look back, I think that gave me a really good work ethic that's helped me to build the life that I have today. But when I was in grade school, we had to move because my dad went bankrupt. And so when we had to move, we moved into a small town and I didn't know anybody. And I was really insecure. And, I wore hand me downs and stuff. We didn't have a lot of money. And so I just didn't feel like kids liked me. And so I connected with a girl that was, her mom was divorced, one of the only divorced women at that time. And so I started drinking vodka with her and smoking cigarettes at lunchtime. We were like in 5th grade, right? So by the time I was out of high school, I was doing all kinds of drugs and drinking. I did finish high school, but then I was really, my dad, shortly after that, by that time he'd rebuilt the farm and was building a dairy farm, and we would milk cows at 3:30 in the morning and 3:30 in the afternoon. And I would come home and he would be like, I would be out all night drinking and partying and come home and go right to work. And sometimes I'd fall asleep working. He was like, "This isn't working for me, kid. You got to go." And so that's when I left the farm the first time. So, but then I ended up going to Phoenix, and I kept down that track of using drugs and alcohol. And finally, at one point, I decided that I was going to choose life, and I chose to live instead of keep using drugs and alcohol, and I got sober. And a year later, I started my first business. And within a couple of years, that business was doing $1 million in revenue. And then I just built it from there. After 9 years, I sold that business. And then I started another business that I still have today, Private Eyes. And so we do background checks and make a safe workplace possible for all of our clients all over the globe. And, we also provide income verifications for banks and mortgage lenders in the United States by verifying the income that you have with the IRS so that you can qualify for a mortgage loan or an SBA loan to build your business. And so, it's been through all kinds of challenges that I've gotten to where I'm at today. And that's why I wrote the book.
Okay, your book is amazing. I just couldn't stop reading it. So it was like in one night, I had to go all the end. And at the end, I saw that there's going to probably be another book because so I would like to ask you that you start writing another book approximately from 2011 when you started investing in the property.
That's another book, right?
Okay.
Yeah, because investment properties have been a really I bought my first house in 1990. Not to date myself, a woman should never give her age, her weight, or her income, right? And so, but I bought my first house, and I've made money on every piece of real estate I've ever made. But the first house I bought, I did, get a loan for it, and the second house I bought, I got a loan for it, and I was doing things that way. But when I started investing later, I started to find properties that I could pay. I could pay cash for it, and all of those properties have appreciated 100, 200, or 300% since I acquired them. And so, real estate is a really great way to grow net worth. So, it's something that, you have to pay taxes and insurance, and it's important that you have insurance because none of us know what's going to happen. Last night another hurricane hit in Florida, and so you need to pay those things as well. But you'll have less overhead when you don't leverage for properties. So you'll have less monthly overhead, and if you rent the properties, you'll have income on top that will pay those expenses as well.
Yeah, that is. We spoke before the interview, and I'm really amazed that you are one of the few that believes, as I do, that we should have non-leveraged property, and that also brings stability to our business, I believe.
Yes, exactly. And, I learned that the hard way, right? Because when I had a large corporate contract, people were like, lease copiers, lease the bigger office, lease this, lease that. And I did. And when they left and they were 85% of my revenue, I thought I was going to die. And by that time, I had two small children and had went through a hostile divorce. And so I had put and I didn't downsize fast enough. So I kept a lot of employees and a lot of the space that I didn't need after they left, thinking I was going to recover faster. And instead, things got worse before they got better. And then there, I found myself in the position I was looking at potentially going bankrupt. And I couldn't because I had a loan attached to my house at the time that I used for the business to keep it going during that loss of a client. And so today, I have thousands of customers, and I've preferred, since I paid off that debt, because I chose not to go bankrupt, and I paid off the debt. And, now I prefer to operate typically debt free as much as I can. I use some credit to, give me more time. I have credit cards that I use to pay vendor bills and stuff, but we pay those off right away. So we don't, I don't like to pay interest on anything, even though interest has been really low over the last decade. But, it's another way that you can save money is by not paying interest on high credit card debt and things like that as well.
Yeah, that is amazing. Just how you talk in the book also about the scale down and how you did not do it fast enough. And I believe all of the seasoned business people have this experience because
Yeah.
we we live on a hope. Let's say like this, we're gonna substitute one client for another, and it's just
Yeah.
around the corner, and we are negotiating already. And I have a lead here, and someone has recommended me there. Um, but my experience is that you have to cut as soon as you have a hunch that something will go bad. You need to start cutting back and just
Exactly.
start cutting.
Exactly. And so, I've been very fortunate because I've had natural attrition at my company. And now I have people that have been with me. A lot of people have been with me over a decade. And so they're trained and they have do a really good job. And so it makes my life easier. When I was younger, I probably overutilized the team. And now I maybe underutilize them some so that they stay with me longer and that they can go with the ebbs and flows. So if volume increases, they can work more and they get paid more overtime or bonuses. And if volume is less, they work a little bit less, but they're trained and they can handle it when things increase because we don't know what's coming next with the economy. And there's a lot of things that are out of our control. But I did learn that if you have to cut back, you have to make that decision fast. And I had people tell me that at the time, but I wasn't open to listening. And I kind of thought that everything that was happening was just about what was happening to me. And then, the financial crisis happened and a little time went by. And some of my friends were like, telling me how it impacted their business. And I realized it was a financial crisis that we were having. It wasn't about Sandra. Like we sometimes are stuck in our world and we're like, this is just about what's happening here.
Mhm. In your book, you're also writing about mentors in business and professional associations. Can you share a bit of insight in that? You already mentioned that people were trying to convey to you that you should scale down faster, but there was good advice that you just couldn't take. And my life is also full of good advice.
I know, right? I'd be dangerous if I knew then what I know now, right? And so, yes, I got certified through WeBank as a woman-owned business when I had that large corporate contract back in the early 2000s. And that I volunteered to help get other women certified through the organization. So I would go out and do an on-site visit and things like that. But I didn't really get involved with the organization, but I met a lot of other CEO women by doing that. And those women were running businesses too. And what I've found out from being an entrepreneur for decades is that it doesn't matter what our product or service is. We all have the same issues at work. We all have payroll. We all have staff. We all have to be somewhere. We're selling a product or service, so we need marketing, right? And so being able to communicate with other people I found out that that was where I wanted to spend my time when I wasn't at work, right? So I made good friends with a lot of people in the organization. People typically get certified thinking that they're going to get more contracts, which a lot of people do, but you build relationships and friendships out of that, and it's a lot more. And then I looked for other organizations. At one time I would go to all the Chamber of Commerce meetings. So there's always meetings that people go to network. Some of those meetings you can go to for free. And so if you're just getting started in your business, you don't have to invest a lot to go out and meet other people. And you want to meet people that have something to offer. Denzel Washington said, I read on Facebook, it went something like, I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but it went something like, if you're around five smart people, you'll be the sixth. If you're around five people who are learning, you'll be the sixth. If you're around five successful people, you'll be the sixth. If you're around five stupid people, you will be the sixth. So you kind of have to look for people that you can learn from and spend time with people that know more than you do. Look for people that are smarter than you, that do more. And, I used to think more just meant revenue. I thought that it meant if they did more revenue, they must be smarter or know what to do. But then when I talked to some people that were doing a lot more revenue, they weren't making any money. And so I've been there before too, where I had big revenue and I wasn't making any profit. That's no fun. So, one of my favorite sayings today is revenue is vanity and profit is sanity.
Mhm. Oh, this one is really good.
It's a very good one, right?
Mhm.
Because it doesn't really matter how much you bill if you're not making money. Because the point of being an entrepreneur is to be able to have a sustainable company where you can create a future for yourself and others.
I really like how you explain it, and I would like to challenge you a bit with your mentors, or when you're mentoring. What is more important for an entrepreneur, a cheerleader or an accountability partner? Which one would you choose?
Oh, well, I would say an accountability partner, but I think all of us can use a little bit of a cheerleader too. I mean, it's good to have people that that will, even if they don't know anything about business, they just think that you can do it no matter what. So everybody needs a little bit of cheerleader, but having somebody to be accountable to is helpful too, because when you're the CEO of a company, typically, if you're with a publicly traded company, you're going to be accountable to a board. But if it's privately held company, you're accountable to your team and to your family. But it's good to have someone else hold you accountable to whatever you say you're going to do as well. If somebody's checking on you, you're going to all typically human beings will just step up more when we're being held accountable. It's how you maximize that's how the team performs the best too, is, everything that you track, you can improve. And every time you hold someone accountable, they typically will step up to that. Most humans will.
Okay. Uh, on the end of your book, you you thank all the people that help you on your way, and you go out of your way to not thank them with just their names, but also what help they helped you with. How important is gratitude in business? How important is to be thankful for all the people that help us in business?
I think that it's the most important thing because I mean, and I didn't list all the people. My publisher wouldn't let me put everybody there, right? She goes, that's a whole nother book because there's so many people that have helped me along the way. But I put a handful of people that I know that if I call them, they're going to talk me off the ledge if I'm on the ledge, if I'm stressed about something, those types of things. But there's been so many people that have helped me. The reason I've won large contracts at all was because there was always an advocate there that wanted me to win, at the company. So there's so many people that have helped, but I think that gratitude is so important. I think that, and I don't think when I was younger, I really had that. And I think that was missing for me probably. But I think that today, the more gratitude and more that I have, the more good things that come to me. And the wiser I've become, or the more mature I've become, or I'm finally maturing, that I think that, being grateful is, I mean, just to be with someone before they pass is a gift, and to have that time to be there with someone or to comfort someone. And so it's the small things that we're grateful for that will have big things happen. I just told a friend of mine that, when you have integrity and you have gratitude and you try to do the right thing, I believe that magic happens. And the magic makes the miracles of what you're able to do with the opportunities that come up.
That is amazing. And I really, it's outstanding because everyone is just talking about gratitude, but you're practicing it and show it in your book. And I really like it. Uh, and I also adore your humility when you say that you're not grateful enough when you were younger. I have exactly the same experience when, for me, gratitude was just part of being well brought up. So the part of being polite and not socially awkward. I did not understand the feeling of gratitude, how it feels, and how we should take time to be grateful. I think that is often overlooked, and because of our busy schedules, we just go through life without being grateful, even if so many nice or good people are around us, and we're not grateful enough. So you already shared one wisdom: revenue is vanity and profit is sanity. Is there another wisdom or trick that you can share with our listeners before we conclude this podcast?
Well, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity is really my favorite when it comes to business, right? And I think that the other thing that I would say is, because I just lost a loved one this week, is that, cherish the people that you care about and tell them and spend time with them. And, that's not in the book, but I just have that with me today because I lost a sister this week.
Thank you very much. Uh, Sandra, where can our listeners reach to you? Where can they get your book?
There's a website, sandra-james.com. And if you go to the website there, you'll be able to contact me through the website. You can find the book on Amazon. It is a bestseller. It's a hot new release and a top new release, which I'm very grateful for. And if you put in "Don't Tell Me I Can't," the journey of a farm girl to CEO, or if you put in "Don't Tell Me I Can't, Sandra James," it'll come up on Amazon for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your book, and thank you for this incredible interview.
And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.